Welcome back to another video. Ooh. This is a property update. I just want to start by saying that. I know that I just got the bus and the last couple videos that have come out have been about that. And everybody was wondering what happened with the property. So I just want to do a recap on what has happened with the property and where things are at with the property right now. So that's what this video is about. Now, for anybody who doesn't know or just happens to be on this video for some reason, a while back, I had some crazy cyber stalker just start emailing everybody that would listen, right? And they, in a nutshell, they emailed the county saying I had a bunch of illegal structures, guessing, turned out they were right. A lot of the stuff that was here was unpermitted, and the county was like, $2,000 a day unless you get rid of the structures, right? So if you've been watching that whole series, basically there was two sides to the story, right? There was the little structures that I didn't really care about and that didn't really add or take away from the property value, in my opinion. And I just decided to demolish those. So that was the demolitions, right? So I had to pay for a permit to demolish. It was 3 structures. There was an addition to the back of the house that's gone now. There was a barn that was out of code at the top of the hill. I kind of demolished it, but just got it into code. And then there was this weird structure on stilts over here at the end of the shop that would never pass anything. I just took it down, right? All that's done. So I paid for a demolition permit. Took about a month to do the demolitions. And I actually don't remember if I've talked about this in a video or not. But so the way it works is I have to be in constant contact with the county, showing them my progress to prove that I'm actually doing something. And I was in contact, sending all the photos, doing my thing, right? And I thought that was enough. And then I thought when I was done, but apparently not. So at the end of that, which again, I don't remember if I filmed or shared this. So it's a good thing I'm sitting down doing this. I thought I was done, but they have to send an inspector out to close out the demolition permit, right? Which means somebody from the county has to come to the property and basically verify that what I was showing in photos was actually true. And that the structures were actually gone and the debris is actually gone. So they have to send somebody down here physically to verify that. Now, somebody did come. I got a bunch of different irons in the fire, so it's like I forget what I filmed and what I haven't. Like I have a music channel and all kinds of stuff going on. But basically the inspector came, I don't remember, a couple weeks ago, and walked through the property with me and finalized it. The permit is closed. The demolitions are done. That's 100% successful. Month of work. It's done. Now, when I did get quotes for construction, so basically I saved myself $20,000 to $50,000 by doing the work myself, right? And I was talking to Jaylena about this, and it's like, if I was not a full-time YouTuber and like had to go clock in at a job somewhere and try and do this on my weekend, I would have had to have paid somebody, or like it would not have gotten done this fast. Luckily, with your guys' help, I was able to just turn demolishing these structures into my job and film it. And I was able to keep the bills paid and save myself 20 to 50 grand on construction fees. So all it cost me was my time and, you know, a couple dump fees, and I paid a couple people to come help me here and there, but not $20,000 to $50,000, right? So that's the first side of the property stuff. So that is completely done. The demolitions are 100% done. All the demolition permit is pulled down. It's closed out. The inspector was here. It's all finalized. I got the paperwork to prove it. We're good to go, right? Now, the thing that we haven't talked about much is the other side of that. There was two sides to the property issues. One was the demolishing things. The other was the shop. Now, what this is called, this is a great way for you guys to learn. I guess I should talk about this real quick. What I have learned now is that you think that you pay you think you pay a real estate agent, you think you pay inspectors, you think you pay title to make sure that none of this happens to you, right? That was my impression. Like, if this was a cash-only deal, I could see me running into these problems. But I thought by going through title company and a real estate agent and a normal mortgage that all of these boxes would have been checked before somebody sells you a house, right? That it's legal. Apparently, that's not the case, right? So I'm just going to share my knowledge that I've learned so far. A real estate agent is only helping you with the transaction. They're not looking farther than that, right? A title company is only making sure there's no money owed on the property, right? So that the title can transfer legally, right? If there's money on the property and there's a lien on the property, the title can't transfer to a new owner. That's their job, right? Nowhere in this line is it anyone's job to make sure that the structures are actually legal, which sounds crazy, right? This is the first house I've ever bought, and I didn't know these things. Luckily, most people don't run into these issues. I just happen to have. So basically, if you are an interested buyer thinking about buying a property, my advice to you, and what I have learned to do, is to go to the county records. Like, if you're looking at buying this property, I would go to the county records and make sure that everything there is legal, right? So you don't wind up in the position that I'm in right now. And talking to the county and all that, you'd be surprised how often this kind of thing happens. But I'm just a YouTuber, so I'm sharing it. Most of this stuff never gets shared. I was talking to the inspector the other day, and he was saying there was a house. It wasn't even an old house. It was a brand new house, was built, a newer house. It was sold 3 times before anybody realized that it wasn't actually legal. The whole thing was built and there was never a final inspection done. And somehow it came up for the 3rd owner. So it's like basically anyone could be in this position. Nobody really knows to look for it. I've learned more about real estate in the last year than I ever thought I would need or want to know. But anyways, that's my little tip for anybody watching this video. You know? Okay, so, my microphone's not facing the right way. Okay, so let's get into where things are at now. So, legally, it's nobody's responsibility but mine, and most of the time, the stuff doesn't come up, right? People buy and sell houses all the time with illegal stuff and don't even know it, which is scary to think about. Demolitions are done. Where the property is at right now is, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about the history of it, right? This was the original garage to the original mobile home that was on this property a million years ago. And somebody just rolled in my driveway. Now, he added on to this garage 3 times. At first, there was a carport, and then he enclosed the carport and then built this big old long shop, which is now the recording studio. And 20 years ago, I'm going to share the history. 20 years ago, he pulled a permit to, this was all good. He pulled a permit to enclose and do everything he did over there, right? And according to records, And it's, you got to think too, it's like records changed over the years a lot on how it was kept. So it's like, according to records, he pulled the permit and never did any inspections. Basically just pulled the permit to build it all and then never did anything, according to records, right? So I called the original owner and I told him what was going on. Like, I wasn't like trying to be mean or anything, but I'm like, bro, like, this is kind of your bag. I could potentially sue you if I want to. And I just need you. The only person who's going to have the paperwork is going to be you. You're going to be the only person that's going to care. Anyways, talked to him on the phone, and he said that, what was it, 10 years ago, this came up for him, the exact same thing I'm dealing with. And he said he went into the county and showed all the paperwork, said he did everything, and proved it 10 years ago. So it's like, there's a bunch of he said, she said, but there's no paperwork to prove anything. I go into the county, and they say they have no record. What they say they have record of is 10 years ago, yes, he did get this letter. 10 years ago, he did walk in there and just got another permit, and then again, never did any of the inspections, according to the records. So I was asking to the county, I was like, well, how could that have gotten lost? You know, paperwork, you know, filing systems change. Like, I'm not necessarily calling this other guy a liar, but could the records have been lost? He said no. So it doesn't, I don't know what happened. I don't know what's true. Don't know. What that leaves me with, demolitions are done, but what that leaves the property and where the property is at right now is I legally cannot sell this property. I am stuck here in this mortgage until I get the property in compliance. Right now, like 75% of the shop is an open permit. That means a permit was pulled, the structure was built, none of the inspections were ever done. That's where we're at. Which means that I have to get that figured out. Now, the process we're at now, 1 second. Actually, so the process we're at now, so this kind of thing happens, right? A structure will get built, inspections don't get done. It's kind of common, which is, again, scary. But basically, what I have to do is you have to go through what is called an as-built permit. Now, what that means is a structure that's standing, you have an engineer come out, and the engineer basically reverse engineers the structure. So the engineer will come in and basically draw it up like you were going to build it, but draw what's there. So the building is reverse engineered and on paper, and then if there's any issues or anything you need to change, like let's say the nails aren't right, you go add some nails, right, to make it to code. You take this piece of paper, you submit it to the county, and then the county tells you anything that needs to be changed, and you change it, or they tell you it can't be, and then you have to demolish it. So that piece of paper costs $5,000 to $20,000. Any engineer just to do the work, which I've had to pay, which is why I sold the camper. I sold the camper to cover these costs. Now, so that's what an as-built permit process is. You have an engineer come out, he reverse engineers the building, and then you submit that paper to the county. The county tells you anything that you need to do, or they just tell you it's good, right? But along with that process, again, an inspector has to come out and do a final inspection. And then once you do the final inspection, you're good. Then I'm legal, then I can sell this place. Right now, I can't leave here if I wanted to, which is a bad place to be because things change, right? If something happens, I need to be able to leave here or sell this. And right now, the county, or I legally can't move this property. I'm trapped. So it's like, that's a big deal. I have to do that. That's why I sold things and moved things around to be able to pay for a really expensive piece of paper. Which I guess, so where things are at now is an engineer has been here. The engineer was here, I don't know, last week. And he basically measured everything, took all the measurements, and then he has to go home and draw it, right? I'm waiting. Which brings me back to, I want to touch on the bus real quick. There was a lot of people thinking that I was just building a bus and gonna go move into a bus and drive around, or I was gonna start a bus building business. That's not what I'm doing. Really quickly, so the bus translates into this right now, right? I don't want to and can't do anything to the property until that piece of paper is done being drawn and it goes to the county and I get told that my building is either legal or I have to do repairs, right? There's no point in doing any repairs or spending any money on this property when I don't even know what's legal and what's not, right? So I'm kind of in limbo. The engineer has already been here. I can't do anything. I don't want to spend a bunch of money on this property and, it turns into a bankruptcy deal, right? So that's where things are at. So I'll touch on it real quick. I bought a cheap car when I knew I was selling the camper to cover these costs. And then when I found out that I was going to keep the truck, I just sold the cheap car, turned the cheap car into the bus. Now, I am a full-time content creator. I am a full-time YouTuber. I have to have something to do. I can't do anything on the property right now until the paperwork comes back and I either have to do repairs or it's legal. So what am I supposed to do as a full-time content creator, right? So I turned my cheap car into this bus and I'm going to start building that here and there so I can at least keep videos coming out for you guys. Like, I'm not starting a bus building business. I'm not going to move into that thing full time. Like, I bought that bus to basically just build for myself. It's for my music career. It's going to be a mobile recording studio. It's going to be a little camper that has enough room for my whole family to go and do trips in. Week, 2, month, here and there, whatever, right? I'm always going to have a home base for my family. So let me just put that out there right now. That's what the bus was about, right? Give me a project to work on while I have some downtime waiting on the property that I can't do anything with right now. So that's the update on the property. I know a lot of people didn't even watch my last video and just made a bunch of assumptions. So I wanted to pop the bus part in here. But I'm excited. I'm actually very happy about working on the bus, and I feel like we finally have light at the end of the tunnel on the property. We're on the last part of the stuff, and now I'm just in a waiting game. Engineer's been here. I'm just waiting for the papers to get drawn because it just doesn't happen overnight, and then I've got to submit it, and then I'll kind of know my fate from there. But until I'm done with the property legal stuff, I'm not going to do any work on the property. I might do some little stuff here and there, but I can't do anything substantial. So I'm just going to work on music, do what I can here and there, and work on that bus on the channel. So I hope that gives you guys a little bit more understanding where things are at and helps you understand what's going on. We're almost done. We're not quite done. We're like the last 90%. I'm stoked to put this all behind me and be able to do repairs to the property and move on with our lives. So, thanks for watching. I'm not sure what the next videos are going to be, but I appreciate you guys being here. And again, I'm going to keep you guys updated as the property stuff goes forward. I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on where things are at right now. Everybody that's just been here through the demolitions, commenting, thumbs upping, so much love and respect. Yeah, if this happens to be your first time on this channel, I am now building an old school bus into a tiny home / music tour bus recording studio, and we have a homestead here in Oregon that we do stuff on. So thanks for being here. I'll catch you guys in another one. This is Isaac signing out. Jaylena and Ember are still in Texas visiting family. I think they're gonna be back next week, so can't wait to see my fam. All right, y'all, bye. Thank you for watching.